Hey there, what's up? This is Nick, coach of the Cerulean City Psyducks, and I'm going to be doing commentary for my battle with Mike this week. The Cianwood City Magikarps, whatever the name of his team is. A bit of a precursor to this battle. We did have a disconnect when we first started it, but there was some luck that was not going to be easy to recreate, so we kind of just rolled with it. What that was my Pelipper used Scald on his Garchomp and got a critical hit that also burned it. And then the next turn took it out with another Scald. So that was something where we didn't think that luck was going to be repeatable, so we decided to just pick up with a dead Garchomp. So this battle is going to be a 5v6, so let us get down to it. So Mike and I, we've faced off a lot last season as well, and this is the second season we've both been in it. So we've fought each other before, so we kind of know how each other plays. So this one, he leads with Jirachi, and I lead with my main man, who plays that sexy sax, Duke Silver. And right now, I just did a fake out kind of to item fish, because I wasn't entirely sure what Jirachi had item-wise, so I was like, okay, I get a free turn, do a tiny bit of damage, which didn't even really matter because it just healed up, but I'm like, okay, it's got leftovers. So at this point, I'm like, maybe he's going to try and set up stones, since that is what he has done before with Jirachi. Fell for it, but he's using U-turn, so it really didn't matter. So I take some damage there, not much because of my Fur Coat ability, since I have no defense investment and I just take tiny amounts of damage from everything. And then he sends out his not brave bird, who is not a brave bird apparently, because it's just shaking like a leaf up there, you can see it. And I get rid of Duke Silver because I'm like, I don't know what this thing's got, so let's send in somebody who should be able to resist any type of attack that's thrown at him. And here comes the Boom Burst, tons of damage, which was really unfortunate, and it did critical hit, so I was really crapping myself here because I was like, he is the one who could take this hit the best. Here comes another Boom Burst, and he hangs on by just a bee's dick of health. 2 HP is how much he had left on that. And a Volt Switch, I was like, it's going to be enough to KO him, and I want to get a little bit of mobility, have a choice of bringing somebody else back in for free. So I bring back out my bad boy Duke Silver, because he's just great for fishing, especially since it's a first turn out again. He can use Fake Out again, but he's also got a nice set of moves where, depending on what comes out against him, he can do a bunch of different things. So in comes Mike's Flubber, the Ditto, who transforms into Duke Silver, which is a little unfortunate because my moveset is a little bit mean, and he is faster than me since he does have a Choice Scarf, as we can see, because this was one thing I wasn't sure about. It's like, well, I'm not sure what he's rocking on this thing, so I'm like, let's send it in. There's nothing that Persian can really do to hurt Mushmouth, and I wanted to set up the rain because of his Drizzle. So I'm like, yeah, whatever Persian does, it's really not going to do anything to my Pelipper, so. And then I see he uses Fake Out again, so at this point I'm kind of laughing because that means he's got a Choice Scarf, and he Choice Scarfed into a move that only works one time. So then he brings in Roy G. Biv, the Kecleon, and I'm like, alright, you just set up your rain, you can switch out now, Pelipper. So he comes back, and then I bring out the big bad Winston, my Swampert. And because Swift Swim, I go Mega in this beautiful, wonderful, drizzly wet rain, and get the big Arms of Justice coming out. And since I'm significantly faster than Kecleon, especially in the rain, I just hit him with an Earthquake, and he's already got some damage, so yeah, he goes down. Little guy is toast. And look at him fall. Poor little Kecleon. Couldn't do anything. So Mike thinks, oh, it's a great idea, let me bring in my Ditto and get my own Mega Swampert, which, I mean, not a terrible idea, except now I know he's Scarfed, so he throws out an Earthquake. It does some pretty good damage to me. I wasn't worried about getting killed by it. I thought I might be able to take 2 of those, so I was gonna see what might happen. So I was like, okay, let's Power Up Punch, increase my attack, make sure I can OKO him, or make sure I can get the KO on him, but I'm like, never mind. I know I'm gonna die because he'll be faster. And since I know he's locked into Earthquake because of his Choice Scarf, I'm like, okay, let's just send in Mushmouth again. And since there's no reason for him to stay out and keep hitting me with Earthquakes that aren't going to do anything, he switches out to Jirachi again, and I'm like, I knew he was going to have to switch, so I just go for the attack with Scald. Just do a little bit of damage, hopefully burn somebody, but it just does some damage. But like I said, that was fine. I knew I had a free attack, and I could have counter-switched, but I didn't know what he was going to go into, so I was better with just doing the damage. And he sets up Stealth Rocks, but this week I wasn't too worried about him, because I didn't bring Gyarados, and, I mean, all that Pelipper really needed to do was come in, set up in the rain. That's all I really had to do. He could die right after that and it'd be fine. So since I knew his Jirachi was gonna come slinging out Iron Heads because it's done it in the past, this is a very defensively built Grand Bull, and I also wanted to drop its attack a little bit just to make sure that I could hold my own against this thing. Now in the rain, I could have attacked this thing and done some pretty good damage with Earthquake, and I had Fire Fang but I didn't use it. But I really didn't end up getting to do as much as I wanted with Granbull, because that flinch right there was the first of another one. So I flinched right there, didn't take too much damage, so I was like, okay, let's just stay in, let's try and do something again. Hit with another one, survive it, I'm fine. But I flinch again because of that stupid thing, Serene Grace, which doubles the chance of secondary effect. So a 30% chance of flinching off of Iron Head turns into a 60% chance of flinching with, which is it's a pretty annoying amount of flinching that can go on there. So hits me again, brings me down to the red, but luckily I don't flinch this time and I get a Thunder Wave off, because I was like, okay, this thing's just starting to piss me off, so let's slow it down, make sure that it really can't do much of anything, even if it can flinch people. But it won't be able to flinch them if they are faster than it, now that its speed is halved. So at this point I'm like, okay, I don't want Granbull to die, I'm not going to risk attacking it and not being able to KO it, so let's bring in somebody who really resists anything that I'm pretty sure this Jirachi could throw. I mean, he takes a good chunk of damage from those Stealth Rocks, but he takes literally just a completely insignificant amount of damage from that Iron Head. And I know at this point, if Jirachi stays in, it's dead. If Jirachi switches out, anybody who comes in is going to take some pretty good damage from an attack from GG Easy, the Rotom Heat. So I decided to go for the Overheat, and it was a pretty good decision because I think it does, yeah, it takes him down just under half health, which is it's good. I mean, chipping this thing down is a good way to just slowly get rid of it. And he uses Hidden Power, which was Hidden Power Ground for him, so he forgot his own Hidden Power type. So at this point I'm like, okay, I'll just switch out, and I know he's using ground attacks again, so why don't we set up the Rain again and just completely resist his Hidden Powers again. So I'm not sure if he was hoping I would switch into my Swampert or my Granbull or something, but he just keeps going with those Hidden Powers for whatever reason, and I hit him with the Scald to just finish him off. So this was, in this match, the second KO for Pelipper. He hasn't done too much most weeks, but week 5 he got to shine. And Jirachi comes back out, and I probably could have outlasted it by just sitting here and hitting it with Scalds and possibly, oh no, not burning it since it's already paralyzed, but I decided, you know what, the Rain's up, the Ditto is weak, well, let's just start going to town, just doing some damage and stuff. So I send Winston back in. He takes a little bit of damage from this Iron Head, but not enough for me to be worried. And Jirachi's pretty much back at full health, but it really didn't matter because one Earthquake just completely destroys this thing. So here we see all that health just goes away. So Jirachi, it's a pretty solid Pokemon, but it's pretty weak to those Earthquakes. And now he sends out his Arrow 404, which usually this thing is really annoying once it gets a Z conversion off, but in the rain, even with Z conversion, I outsped this thing, and with the waterfall in the rain, it just does enough damage to just kill the thing outright. So there's the win for me. My first win in this season of the league. I'm pretty happy about it. It was a good fight by Mike. He made some poor decisions with his Ditto. I mean, that thing can be insanely annoying, but he didn't use it very effectively, so I was able to get around it and then kind of just take out the rest of his team. one by one, spreading the damage between my team pretty evenly. So it was a good fight. I'm looking forward to my battle next week, where I face my good friend Brendan of the Cinnabar Island Cyndaquils. So that should be an interesting match, since we talk to each other about strategies and such fairly often. So it should be interesting to see what we both bring out. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.